Hey cat lovers, and welcome back to another video. The story of how men domesticated dogs is a well-known tale. After all, dogs were the first animal to be domesticated by human beings. But what about our other loyal companions, cats? Aloof and mysterious as they are, it's quite surprising to some people that cats even became domesticated creatures at all. Well, as it turns out, cats were domesticated more than once, which we'll explain soon. If you enjoy this kind of content, consider subscribing to our channel for more cat videos. Now let's explore the history of cat domestication. The original domestication story. Scientists have traced the lineage of domesticated cats to a common ancestor, a wild cat subspecies from the North Africa, Southwest Asia region. As far as we know, all domesticated cats today share this ancestor, so that must be the source of domestication. This ancient cat DNA has been traced all the way back to the Mesolithic period, which is between 10,000 BC and 8,000 BC, in the Fertile Crescent or modern-day Middle Eastern region. In classic cat fashion, researchers suspect that cats likely played more of a role in their own domestication than human beings did. The most agreed-upon theory of cat domestication is that cats were drawn to human settlements, particularly food storage areas, because of an abundance of mice. Our food attracted the mice, and the mice attracted the cats, thus forming a mutually beneficial relationship between humans and cats. When the cats would eat mice, the mice wouldn't eat the crops. Therefore, more crops could be grown, and more mice would come, and more cats would come to eat the mice. The cycle goes on and on. Eventually, humans came to appreciate the benefits that cats were having on crop growth, so they sought to further utilize them. We began caring for cats and providing for them so that they would be more likely to stick around. An abundance of ancient cat DNA has been found around ports and seaside settlements, indicating that we would bring cats on ships to eliminate any mice on board. As such, domesticated cat populations began to spread from settlement to settlement and even across water masses. Since then, cat remains have been found alongside human settlements in various places around the world. On the island settlement of Cyprus, archaeological evidence suggests that cats were domesticated and living with human beings around 9,500 years ago. The cat remains discovered share the common ancestor of modern cats today from the Fertile Crescent, indicating the cats must have been intentionally brought to the island by humans. Pretty fascinating, huh? Egyptian cat worship. Domesticated cat populations boomed in ancient Egypt as cats were seen as incredibly influential and iconic animals. Like the people in the Neolithic era, the ancient Egyptians appreciated cats because they eliminated rodent populations and protected food supplies. However, they were highly admired by the ancient Egyptian people to the point where being responsible for the death of a cat was punished by death. Cats were incredibly symbolic in ancient Egyptian culture and can be seen in our preserved collections of their art, text, and architecture. An iconic example of how cats influenced ancient Egyptian culture is the goddess Bastet. Bastet is the goddess of health, protection, and pleasure. She takes on the form of a feline creature with the head of a cat and the body of a woman. As such, cats were viewed as images of Bastet and were to be protected and cared for. Strong relationship between the ancient Egyptians and cats is further evidenced by the discovery of mummified cats within the tombs of mummified people. People would be mummified after death and placed in a tomb containing their beloved possessions as well as things that they would require in the afterlife. Therefore, the presence of mummified cats alongside mummified humans is indicative of the value that was placed upon them in ancient Egyptian society. When Egypt was integrated into the Roman Empire in 30 BC, the spread of domesticated cats really took off and became popular across Europe. Modern-day cats. Since being domesticated, cats have been a significant part of human life. Influential figures like Mark Twain, Catherine the Great, and Abraham Lincoln were known for being dedicated cat lovers, and their cats were likely not so different from your or my cats. The cats that we have today likely still strongly resemble the cats that were first domesticated. Unlike dogs, which have subspecies that look completely different from each other, think Doberman versus Pomeranian, most cats generally look fairly similar. They all tend to be around the same size with the same build. Though there are differences between and within breeds of cats, like color and fur length, they all still broadly resemble one another. This is because cats were not selectively bred to emphasize certain traits like dogs were. So cats have stayed relatively the same since they were domesticated around 10 to 12,000 years ago. There are some subtle differences though. Modern day cats have smaller skulls and more colorful coats than ancient domesticated cats. As it turns out, coat color and design reveal a lot about the history of cat domestication. It seems that cats were not bred selectively until around the medieval period or later, which is about 1000 to 1500 AD. From this point and beyond, more coat colors and patterns, including the stripes of tabby cats, became more widespread. Today, cats are one of the most popular pets in the world. There are over 370 million cats across the world that are kept as pets. This makes cats an incredibly popular option when it comes to selecting a pet, only falling short of dogs by 100 million in numbers. In the United States, around 25% of households keep a cat as a pet, bringing the total number of pet cats to around 94 million. Clearly, cats have not faltered in popularity since first being domesticated thousands of years ago. They've remained important aspects of human life and different cultures for countless years. No doubt cats will remain extremely popular pets for years to come. Today, they are the second most popular pet in the United States, and have championed that title for many, many years. It's safe to say that cats aren't going anywhere. The second domestication story. The story of domestication that we've just discussed is the primary one. All domesticated cats today descend from that lineage, so that is the domestication story that is the most accurate and informational when it comes to telling us information about our cats today. However, it isn't the only domestication story. New research suggests that cats may have been domesticated outside of the Fertile Crescent as well. Ancient cat bones were discovered in an ancient farming village in China known as Quanhuken. These bones were found to be at least 5,300 years old, so they fall within the period in which cats were already domesticated. However, after closely inspecting the bones, researchers found that they do not share genetic information with our domesticated cats today. This indicates that the bones must belong to a different species than the North African Southwest Asian wildcat that all domesticated cats descend from. Scientists were able to determine that the bones' genetic information aligned with those of a species known as leopard cats. This was shocking information as it suggests that these cats must have been domesticated a second time in the remote location in China. Signs of domestication. You may be wondering how researchers can tell if a cat is domesticated or if it just cohabitates in a space with human beings. Domestication implies that human beings are gaining something out of the animal's presence. It means that the animal's presence is manipulated or encouraged to provide its services to human beings. Furthermore, the animal itself becomes dependent on humans for survival if it's truly domesticated. It relies on humans for food, shelter, and care. Therefore, domestication also implies a mutual relationship between the animal and the human. The animal provides a necessary service for the human, and in return, the human cares for the animal and ensures its survival. In the case of the cat bones found in Quanhuken, researchers were able to tell that the cats were domesticated because of the state of their bones. The bones found in and near the village were slightly smaller than bones of the same species found outside of the village. This indicates that the domesticated cats had spent several generations within the village and had evolved to have smaller skeletons. This mimics the evolution patterns of our domesticated cats. Their skeletons are smaller than wild cats, so smaller skeletons suggest that domestication took place. Their teeth were also particularly helpful as they were used to determine the ages of different cat skeletons. Some of the cats had very worn teeth, indicating that they were quite old when they died. This suggests that the cat was cared for and was able to live longer than it would have in the wild. Another helpful piece of evidence was how the bones were discovered. One skeleton was discovered intact and buried. If the cat had died naturally, its bones likely would have been scattered. The fact that it was buried in its entirety suggests human intervention. Researchers argue that domestication, or at least the formation of a mutually beneficial relationship, was achieved between the leopard cats and the people of the Quanhuken village. Where did they go? So what happened? Why do all of our domesticated cats today descend from one lineage instead of two? Well, that part remains somewhat of a mystery. The most popular theory is that other domesticated cats, our domesticated cats, were introduced to the area and were more popular than the leopard cats. This led to a reduced need for the leopard cats, and the mutual relationship between the cats and humans weakened. The leopard cats likely then slowly became undomesticated and returned to being wild creatures. So, if leopard cats were domesticated in Quanhuken, it was not for a long time. Regardless, the fact that cats were likely domesticated twice suggests some surprising information about domestication in general. It argues that domestication might not be as complicated as researchers previously thought. It might just be a matter of circumstances rather than an intentional effort on behalf of human beings. Both stories of cats being domesticated are truly fascinating. Aside from pigs, they are the only species that is known to have been domesticated twice. As you find yourself shopping for new cat toys or the most premium cat food, maybe ask yourself, did we domesticate cats, or did they domesticate us? If you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up because it helps other cat lovers find our content. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next Catterday for another video.